Good evening. Mr. Goodwin asked me a couple weeks ago to deliver a speech on what prep means to me. But I think he asked me because he wanted to put a handsome face in front of you all today. Let's just say he made a solid choice. I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut, and I attended St. Augustine for middle school. I'm also first generation American, meaning that growing up, the only blood bonds I had were my mom and my dad, who are here today. Though they gave me the full liberty to pick where I wanted to go to school, they did slightly nudge me in the direction of prep. Despite barely having access to complete secondary education in their home country of Brazil. The rest of my family is currently in Brazil, and I really need to talk to them once or twice a year. While some may consider this a disadvantage, I have found the advantages in this. For instance, I get to pick and build my own personal connections, which are more robust than blood bonds. There is something unique about choosing who you want to walk with you throughout your life, especially the many prep men who I have chosen to be my brothers. I had the luxury of choosing a mentor at St. Augustine, who also nudged me in the direction of prep. But the truth is, I came to prep because I wanted a shot at success. And when I met Father Samiski, I got my shot. This decision has changed my life in ways I can't express. And without prep, I can't imagine what my life would be. Prep has helped me develop into the man I want to be for my family, friends, others, and each and every one of you sitting in this room. I would have not had that option if it were not for each and every one of you who selflessly give so much of your time, energy, and financial support so students like me don't have to worry about money for once in their lives and can have the ability to make a choice just like every child should have the right to do. After I chose to come to prep, I, of course, had to live with the consequences of my choice. I can faintly remember my freshman year, but something specifically always stood out, and that was this bond that prep men developed called a brotherhood. I used to think that this was a cliche notion that we were told in the classroom to enforce treating others with respect. I went my whole freshman year believing this until I started crew in the spring of my freshman year. I faced what we like to call a cannonball moment. For those of you who don't know, a cannonball moment is a moment in life of failure, extraordinary, or just a simple mistake. My cannonball moment was when I first got out on the water, and I started to panic until they finally had to pull me off the water. When I got back on land, I was on the verge of tears because I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know how to handle failure. I was raised always to expect perfection, and it was not meant to be an unrealistic expectation, but instead it was meant to force me to bring the best out myself. The problem was, I didn't know how to handle failure. It took work, day in and day out, to build my confidence within a rowing shell. And thanks to my prep brothers, I did. I finished that season undefeated, beating the league champions in my first ever race, and a year later, not to brag of course, but I coxed the first varsity eight to finish I coxed the first varsity eight to finish 20th in the nation for the first time in prep history. Many know that Fairfield Prep has a history of developing men who are open to growth, intellectually competent, religious, loving, and committed to doing justice. In other words, prep men. But what they need to know is how these men are made. Faithful prep men are formed when they're down in a race, when they fail a test, when they concede a goal or concede a touchdown, suffer a loss. We call these moments moments of desolation. And we spend much time in the classroom talking about these moments. We learn in these moments of desolation how to unite and persevere. Faithful prep men come into prep from their communities, are reformed, and return with an ability to fight and never say die. There are many young men around Fairfield County who, with your support tonight, would have the ability to develop this brute ability to persevere. So please generously consider donating to help those who may not be able to afford a prep education, to have a chance to experience the brotherhood, a bond they get to pick and will cherish for the rest of their life. Thank you for your time, and hail prep.